Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. This presentation is about climate scientists who quite literally view the Earth as being flat. So let me explain. This is a typical Arctic sea ice graph from NOAA. It starts in 1979, goes to the present, shows that Arctic sea ice has been declining, and the implication is that this is due to emissions from your SUV. We actually know quite a bit about the Arctic prior to 1979, however. Like this article from 1923, many glaciers vanished, change of climate. Scientists were questioning, is the North Pole going to melt entirely? There was a radical change in climatic conditions in the Arctic, with hitherto unheard of high temperatures. The 1940s were hot. Scientists reported that all of the glaciers in eastern Greenland were rapidly melting. They faced catastrophic collapse like the glaciers of Norway. Temperatures in the Arctic had increased by 10 degrees since 1900. This slide shows what we know about Arctic sea ice prior to 1979, where NOAA currently starts the graphs right at the peak. The part on the right is from the 1990 IPCC report, which has NOAA data going back to 1973, which they're currently hiding. This part of the graph is from a 1985 Department of Energy report. It shows that Arctic sea ice declined from a peak in 1925 down to a low in the 1950s, and then rose back up to the peak in 1979. It cooled a lot from the 1940s to the 1970s, and a lot of old, thick Arctic sea ice accumulated during that time. The red here is from 1988, and it shows that most of the Arctic was covered with 5-year-old ice. But by 1996, most of this red, the 5-year-old ice, was gone. So what happened to it? Climate experts want you to believe that the disappearance of this old, thick, red ice was due to warm summers during the 1990s when the ice melted. But that isn't what happened at all. This animation shows the period from 1988 to 1996, and what you can see what is happening if you follow the red is that the ice is actually pouring out into the North Atlantic during the winters. It wasn't melting in the summer. This was happening during the cold winters when we had unusual winds blowing from the Alaska side over towards Greenland that was pushing the older, thick, red ice out into the North Atlantic where it melted. So this is the flat Earth part of the story. Climate experts look at these maps of Arctic sea ice shown in white here, and what they see is that every year the ice melts back towards the pole, and when it gets to around 80 degrees north latitude, it stops melting. But every year they predict it's all going to disappear next year. It's going to disappear the year after that, but it doesn't. What they don't seem to understand is that the Earth is actually round. They see the ice retreat from Alaska, where the sun is very high in the sky, towards the pole, but then it stops retreating at about 80 degrees north. The problem is that the sun is very low there in September, and at the North Pole it's actually right at the horizon. They simply don't get enough sunshine north of 80 degrees latitude after August to melt the ice. That's why the ice never melts past 80 degrees north, and why it never will in our lifetimes. So don't be a flat Earth climate scientist. Year after year we see their predictions the Arctic's going to be ice-free this summer. But if they just understood basic physics that the Earth is round, they wouldn't make such ridiculous predictions. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science for a long time.